Hello everybody and welcome to my Succession Witch Guide. Alright, we just went through Awakening. Now we're going to go through Succession. Succession is a completely different animal than Awakening. Okay, so if you're looking at Witch, they are very much so opposite to each other. Whereas Awakening is more of a mid-range battle mage and has to get up close to do her damage. Succession really just wants to stand at range like a glass cannon and constantly pelt people. She's much better at kiting, she's much better at dueling, she's much higher APM, and has a much higher overall skill ceiling than the Awakening counterpart. She's much worse in PvE, but you can play her in PvE, and I will cover that on the second part of the guide. All right, so let's go over Succession. Let's do it. All right, we're gonna go through the skills first. MMA in Succession is probably the most important thing to understand about Succession Witch. People always ask me, what's the difference between Succession Witch and Succession Wizard? This is it right here. Okay, whereas Succession Wizard has a passive that gives cooldown reduction on skills of the same element. So if you cast a skill of the same element, it gives other skills of that element that are already on cooldown. It gets them off cooldown faster, if that makes sense. There's not very many mechanics in the game that are like that. Witch has something very different. What's better for AOS, Awakening or Succ? Succession Witch by far is better in AOS. And I will explain why as it'll become clear as I kind of go through this. Prime multiple magic arrows is probably one of the best skills in the entire kit. Okay, very basic mechanics of Succession Witch is that after you cast a skill, you can cast MMA. This is multiple magic arrows. MMA is multiple magic arrows. Okay, it can be cast after every skill in the kit. So if I want to use Bowline, okay, I forward C, and then if I down right mouse button, you'll notice that a big firestorm kind of comes out and attacks the opponent after the initial fireball. Okay, so let's see that again. That is MMA. That's the fire MMA. Okay, if you use a different skill, it will give you a different effect. So if I use a fire skill, it gives you a bigger AoE and does like some burn damage to the target. Okay, if I use an earth skill, it gives you a lingering frontal guard. Okay, so like any sort of earth skill is going to allow you to use a frontal guard after it. That's the MMA earth MMA. Okay, so again, it becomes protected for earth. All right, so let's do Frigid Fog. Okay, I don't like that Frigid Fog. That Frigid Fog is good in PvE, but that Frigid Fog is not good in PvP. Okay, so you see the ice effect come out. It's a different, again, it has a different effect every single time. The ice one gives you the slow. So you see the target is slowed right now. Okay, so if you use an ice skill and then use your MMA, it's going to slow them. Okay, use the fire one, it's going to bigger AoE, it's going to burn them. If you use the earth one, you're going to get a frontal guard, but it'll do the lowest damage. And then there's the electricity one, which is the highest damage one, but it has the lowest AoE. Okay, most people like weaving in the electricity one most of the time. They did change it in a recent patch to kind of bring all of them up in damage to try to meet where the electricity one was, but the electricity one is still, it comes out really fast and people just really enjoy that one. Okay, so like again, you can use different MMAs and you're always weaving MMA in between all of your different skills. Okay, as opposed to Wizard that's constantly just trying to bomb out as many skills as you can all the time, which feels more like a Succession Witch feels much more like a machine gun. Okay, all the time. Okay, it has a 4-second cooldown, so like there is that, but like you have much more consistent damage on the Succession Witch. Okay, that's MMA, and that is what primarily makes Witch a lot different than Succession Witch, a lot different than Succession Wizard. Prime Earth Arrow, this is actually a good DP debuff, and I'm pretty sure it's a stiffen. Yeah, it's a stiffen in PvP. So this is a DP debuff. So if you use your MMA, you can immediately use Earth Arrow after it and stiffen your target. Okay, and it DP debuffs them, which is really good. Okay, really good. It's tough to get off because again, these are unprotected mostly, unless you use the Earth version of MMA. Both of these are unprotected, but you're standing at range, so you're not as worried. Okay. Speaking of which, Isabella's up. Right on. Okay, so then we have Fireball and Fireball Explosion. Okay, now we're going to start getting into the different All right, Succ Witch is a lot more complicated than Awakening Witch is because you have different options for your skills. You can literally, when we say this is a skill tree, Succession Witch and Succession Wizard, literally you have to build the tree based on the play style that you most want to do. Some people find this really annoying. Some people find the customization on this class to be what draws them to the class in the first place. For example, we'll look at Fireball. Okay. Fireball, Explosion. This is the standard. Okay. This looks very, very standard. Okay, that looks just like the pre-awakening version, but it does way more damage. Does way more damage. Okay. Now, if we use the other one, okay, this one is literally just, instead of getting Fireball Explosion, you get a big AoE around you. It kind of explodes with fire. Okay? So it's better for close range, much better for PvE. Okay? Much better for PvE. It's also got a really long cooldown. Boom. Okay? You can shift left mouse button and just cast it without any sort of charge up like Fireball. Okay? When do you use Wingardium Leviosa? Yeah, very funny. Okay, so again, these are the two different options for Fireball. This one is better, this flame spread, this one right here, this is better for PvE. Okay. I don't think I've updated my gear yet, Drac. I'm like 723 now. I got my tri-gloves a couple days ago. I blew up my Debo. It's a duo. I need an adult. Okay. This Fireball Explosion Aerial is better for PvP, okay? And this is fundamentally important. You need this Fireball for PvP because it is one of your only re-CCs in the entire kit. It is a knockdown, okay? It is a knockdown. You absolutely must have it. It is your only re-CC, basically. So if you hit someone with lightning, you follow them up. You follow it up with Fireball Explosion so that you can re-CC them. If you do not have that re-CC, it's going to be very difficult to follow up CC people in PvP. Okay, so you absolutely need this. There are two different meteors too. Okay, Meteor Aerial. Okay, this is your standard meteor. It's a knockdown from range and it hits a really, really big AoE. Okay, again, you can hold it as long as you want. This frontal guard holds. Okay, you just set it up and the frontal guard will sit there. Okay, until you tap left mouse button and then it comes down and you'll notice that it hit both of those targets. It's got a really big AoE. It's a really big knockdown. It makes it better in large scale PvP in most cases, except for maybe T1s where you need the damage coming out of Focus Meteor. Okay. What's the cooldown on this? Yeah, it's kind of ruining my UI is very similar, but because I keep swapping skills, they're kind of disappearing. But like, here's my class buff right here. These are all my movement skills down here. These are all my utility skills on the right side here. And then these are all my damage skills and the different combo skills that I like to use really frequently. Okay. It's the same layout basically in every class that I play. That way, like when I change classes, it's easier to learn because I know all my movement skills are down here, the utility stuff's over here, and then the damage stuff's over here. All right. Now let's do Meteor Focus. Meteor Focus comes out way faster than normal Meteor. Way faster than normal Meteor. Okay. But it's way lower AoE and it's not a knockdown, and it does way more damage to a single target. Watch. Way faster. Way faster. It does much more damage to single target. It does not knock down. It's got way less AoE. So like, there's pros and cons to both. If you're in 1v1 situation, Focus Meteor is probably objectively better because you can just tank somebody with it. And it's your highest DPSing skill in the kit probably. It's really solid. As for which one is better in PvE, it's definitely Focus Meteor. If you're doing PvE, you definitely want to have the Focus version. It just casts faster, it's going to do more damage, and all the mobs are probably stacked because of Red Orb anyway. But Aerial is probably better for large-scale PvP, and is situationally better in small scale, but most of the time you're going to see people with Focus Meteor. Okay, so for Lightning is probably the best catch that you have in the entire kit. If you TP behind somebody... I'm gonna lock my 100% here. If you TP in behind somebody in turn, you can lightning them instantly. It is unprotected, but it is snap of the finger instant. It is so good. It's one of your best catches in PvP, and mainly because you have a split teleport, you can constantly be threatening to lightning people with it, especially if you understand how your opponent's kit works. You can constantly be trying to get in behind them when they're using a frontal guard and catch them with a quick stun. Okay, it's a very, very good stun. That being said, there are flows for it. This is high voltage. You always put high voltage on the hotbar. Okay, it is a frontal guard. Okay, and it does a lot of damage. It does a lot of damage. You can hold the frontal guard. If you hold SF, you can hold it. Okay, for an amount of time, and you can spin with it too. Okay, you can cast it by itself off the hotbar. That's why it has to be on the hotbar. Okay, otherwise you have to actually use lightning, and then it'll cast naturally after you use lightning, just like that. I don't like using it like that though. It's like whatever. I usually cast it off the hotbar. You can cast it with Shift C. Okay, so you can cast it with Shift C as well now. Okay, so this is a recent change. Recent as of a month or two ago. I remember reading that in the patch notes. But like, again, you can just hold down F or you can hold Shift C. It is what it is. I like casting it off the hotbar because again, it's right there. And then if I want to hold it, I just kind of hold down or SF. Okay. All right. That's probably, aside from Focus Meteor, that's your big burst damage in the kit. That skill does a massive amount of damage. And to a decent amount of targets too. It's got a decent AoE on it. Residual lightning is RMB after lightning. So you do down. Okay, that's residual lightning right there. There's prime residual lightning combo. Again, put this on the hotbar because again, you can, it's super armored. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot to go over the other high voltage. Hold on. Okay, so the other high voltage is this one. This one is unprotected, and you use it. Oh wait, no, it is protected. Oh, they put a protection on this. Oh, it used to not be protected. This used to not be protected, but okay, that's fine. This is the one that you would use in PvE. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, okay, all right, yeah. No, I remember now. Yeah. I forgot they changed all the other like the PvE skills for Succession Witch. So when you use this version of Lightning Storm Strike instead of high voltage, Strike is much closer range and is much better in PvE. Okay. Boom. Okay, it's just a big AoE in front of you, and it's a frontal guard, so it's pretty good. Now we're on Residual Lightning Combo. This is another one that you put on your hotbar like I have here. Okay, and it's a super armor when you use it by itself. And it's a really long super armor too. You'll notice it lingers for a really long time. Okay, not everything in the Succession Witches kit lingers. Very little stuff does. That one does. And it's a really good, like, okay, breathe for a second, use the lingering super armor, then decide what you're going to do next. It's a great skill for that. It does really good damage. It just doesn't CC anybody. So that's Residual Lightning Combo. Again, there's another version of this right here that, again, you can put on your hotbar. Oh, did I already put it on here? Okay, that's the PvE one. It comes out way faster, and it is unprotected, but it's really good. Okay, this is the PvE one. Okay, this is the Residual Lightning High Voltage 3. Yeah, this one. This is the PvE one. PvP, PvE. Now we come down to Freeze. There's only one option for Freeze. We talked about Freeze before. It's one of the best CCs in the game. It's unprotected, though, even in Succession, so you got to be careful with it. Okay? So you got to be careful with it. Oh, no, that's Frigid Fog. I'm crazy. It's Downy. There we go. Yeah, Downy. It's a really quick CC. Again, Succ Witch is an amazing duelist. Amazing duelist. You can TP behind someone. You can catch them with any number of things. Okay? Lightning, freeze, anywhere. Boom. Freeze is one of the best CCs in the game. Just understand they're going to be really tanky. So again, that's Freeze. We talked about Freeze in the Awakening version. It's one of the best CCs in the game. Only like 2 or 3 classes in the game can actually freeze people. Wizard, Witch, and Nova, I believe, are the 3. I might be missing one. But yeah, it's an amazing CC, mainly because the CC timer doesn't actually start until the player hits the ground. So there's the freeze. Then he lays down for a full second, and then he stands back up again. Okay, so it's a really long CC. It's a really long CC, and it gives you a lot of time to work with. Although they have a lot of DR while they're frozen. There are two frigid fogs. One is for PvP, one is for PvE, just like the rest of the kit. Okay. But this is one of the skills where you could technically use either of these for PvP or PvE. Okay. This frigid fog here, this is the ranged protection one. Okay. This is a frontal guard. Okay. And it's ranged. All right. Succession Witch does not have a lot of frontal guards. Okay. She does not have an S block. She's one of the only classes in the game that doesn't have an S block, and she also does not have a Q block. She also struggles dramatically with frontal guards. Okay, so like she is going to get pelted if somebody hits her from range. Like she's very vulnerable from range. She's also very vulnerable in PvE for this exact same reason. So like in PvE, you might want to take this, even though you're going to be standing at close range in PvE. You take this just because it gives you a frontal guard at close range like this. And in PvE, it could help you. In PvP, you take it because it's the ranged frigid fog and it's better. This one though is a big AoE around you and it freezes everyone. It is, however, unprotected. It's an excellent skill for catching people in PvP though. It's really good. Some people would say it's really bad in PvP just because when you compare it to the ranged counterpart, they're not necessarily wrong. The ranged with the frontal guard is just better. But in this particular case, if you're trying to catch somebody really quickly like this, again, I talked about this, where like Succession loves to just dart in behind somebody, get a CC off. Oh, it didn't work. I'm going to TP away again. Right? Like, it's really, really solid. So like Frigid Fog is really good at catching people like when they're not aware. Okay? It's also really good in PvE because it does a shitload of damage. Okay. Freeze is the best CC in the game after knockdown, float, stiffness, stuff, knockback, and power. You're stupid. You're an idiot. Okay, so that's the Frigid Fogs. I recommend this one, PvE. Okay, the other one, PvP. Although you can make a case for either or. Okay. It's one of these preference skills. It's definitely a preference skills. Most people do the ranged frontal guarded one in PvP, but you could definitely make a case for using like the other one, especially in like AOS or something. All right, now there's two types of blizzards. No, okay, so this is the ranged one. This is just like Awakening. It functions in exactly the same way. It's a frontal guard while you charge it up, and then you have the left mouse button to activate it. It's ranged. It has a bunch of slows on it. It slows everything hit. It does a crazy amount of damage. Okay, if you're doing some sort of castle defense, or you know you can stand on a high ground and not worry about it, that blizzard is really good. However, I have to wait 30 seconds to show you guys the other one. The other one is considered better in most cases because the other one also applies slows on it. And so it's an AP debuff, all AP minus 16, all movement speed minus 30%. This one is, I'm pretty sure the same thing. It just doesn't say it on the skill. It's really powerful. Does a lot of damage. This is the one that most people use. Okay. This is Prime Blizzard Domain. Okay. It is a frontal guard and it is the highest. Oh man. This might be the highest DPS in the kit. I said Focus Meteor before. This is pretty close. This is pretty close. It is a frontal guard. It is close range. It is big AoEs. Remember, this is not a super armor. This is a frontal guard. This skill does a lot of damage. Just understand that it's frontal guarded. So in PvE, that's really good. In PvP, that's a little rough. Okay, because if you TP, like this is a big AoE, right? Typically, you want to TP to the middle of everyone and use it. The problem is, it doesn't CC people, and you're probably gonna get knocked out of it if you're not careful. Just be careful using it, but it does do a lot of damage. It's a big burst, heavy burst skill. Heavy burst skill. Okay. Prime Earthquake. Okay. So Earthquake has two options. Okay. Earthquake Evade is a PvP skill. Sometimes you can use it in PvE. Okay. Earthquake Evade sends you backward for a short duration. If I'm standing here and my camera is this way and I hold it, okay, it launches you backwards a short ways before casting it. And you can keep casting it even when it's off cooldown. However, I don't recommend this because it does less damage and it's not protected when it's off cooldown. Yeah, I'm running a 3080 Ti as well. Okay, Earthquake Evade is an amazing skill, and this is the one that you take for PvP every single time, basically. Some people do like to take Earthquake Destruction, but those people are dead, so it doesn't matter. Earthquake Evade is one of your fundamentally important movement skills, and like you need it to constantly be ratting around, as I will demonstrate to you later. Earthquake Destruction was buffed recently. It comes out way faster, does way more damage. Just like that. Does much more damage. Okay. Definitely more damage than Earthquake Evade, and it's super armored. Okay. Which is good. And it's a stiffen in PvP now. Okay, so this is a stiffen in PvP. You can definitely make a case for it. It will give you more close range burst damage if you want to use it in PvP. The problem is that Earthquake Evade moves you, and so it's just objectively going to be a better skill. I will say, very importantly for Earthquake Evade, there is a gap at the end of the skill that you have to close. Okay, we're going to cover the mouse move quits a little bit later. So Earthquake Evade, if you'll notice at the very end of the skill, right there, she's still casting the skill, but you are no longer protected. You want to hop out of that. Okay, so at the end of Earthquake Evade, you need to make sure you're moving. That's why Succession Witch is really high APM, is because you don't have very much lingering shit. I'm gonna do this. Okay, and then immediately jump out of it and try to move to another protected skill. Okay, because if you let it just linger out, like you do in Awakening, you're gonna get CC'd and you're gonna get killed. Underworld build when I get to a safe zone, big dog. Okay. So again, Earthquake Evade is generally PvP. Earthquake Destruction is definitely the PvE version, no question. Now there's two Earth's responses. Most people choose Earth's response Destruction. Okay, Earth's response is this A or D left mouse button. You'll notice how long that SA lingers so long. You can actually just be permanently SA. Oh, it is on my hotbar. It's down there. Okay. Okay. You can almost be permanently super armored all the time with this skill. That's why witches love this skill. Okay, it's really good. It's really good. Okay, the other version of this, it does not CC anything. It just basically is a nice long lingering super armor. Hi, what do you think about Succ Witch in PvE, especially in the end game? I think it's really bad. Concert Toyish. I'm giving my opinion on it now, and I'm showing you guys what Succ Witch looks like in PvE. I think that like you can try to keep up. You can be basically a middle of the road PvEer if you're really good at it. But it's really high APM and it's really not worth the effort. You just swap to Awakening. You use a third of the skills and a third of the effort and make more money. So like you just play the Awakening version in PvE is my recommendation. If you insist on playing Succession for PvE, it's going to be a sweat fest, but you could technically make it work. In terms of overall efficiency, I'd say it's relatively middle of the road, low to middle of the road, if you're playing it at the maximum possible level. Yeah, and Awakening Witch is definitely one of the best grinders in the game, so there's really not much competition there. All right, so the other Earth's response is actually really cool. It's not a lingering super armor, but it is a float, though. It is a float, though. So, like, you lose super armor when you hit the ground, but it's a really good float. And the reason that that skill is important is because if you CC someone from range, oh, you're like, oh, cool. You TP close, you can get the Earth's response off, and it's a re-CC. We talked earlier about how you really don't have very many re-CCs in the kit other than Fireball Explosion. Okay. This is a potential one that you could use. I like using it in like duels and stuff because it catches people off guard. However, most people are going to use Earth's Response Destruction because the long lingering super armor gives you a second to assess your option. Okay, and it helps you keep like fill the gaps in protection that the kit might actually have. Earth and Eruption we covered for Awakening Witch. You just press F. It's really good in Succ Witch. This is such a good burst skill for Succ Witch. It's so good. If somebody gets anywhere near you, you can just Earth and Eruption, and it does a lot of damage. It does a lot of damage. Succ or Awakening Striker for PvE, I'd say they're both equivalently good. And they are like A to S tier. They're really good. They buffed Awakening recently. It used to be that Succ was better. Now Awakening is like Giga Chad 2, so like you can do both. Awakening's probably a little lower APM, so yeah. Yeah, just like what Captain Lucid just said. Okay, so I'm gonna keep it on Destruction for now. This is your class buff. You need to hotbar your class buff in Succession. You don't have to do that in Awakening, but you do have to do it in Succession. Okay. I'll move this out of the way for a second so you can see my hotbar down here. Okay, so I have Red Orb, Healing Lighthouse, Healing Aura, Speed Spell, Elemental Palace, High Voltage, Residual Lightning High Voltage, Mass Teleport, and then Spellbound Heart on my hotbar. Okay, she definitely needs to hotbar way less skills than Awakening to make it work. You can get away with probably half of that. I just use them just because. Okay. Here are two more choices. You can choose Bolide of Destruction. This is the PvP version. Most people choose Bolide, especially for PvP. Especially for PvP. This is forward C. Boom. It's on like a 6-second cooldown. Yeah, it is on a 6-second cooldown. It's a ranged bound. It does a shitload of damage. It is so good. You're constantly spamming this out every single time you have the opportunity. You are always using Bolide all the time in PvP. In PvE, you want to swap this with Voltaic Pulse because it is way better in PvE to use Voltaic Pulse. Voltaic has a 10% cast speed buff on it. So all of your... We talked about cast speed on Witch in the Awakening guide. You scale off of attack speed because Voltaic Pulse gives you a 10% attack speed buff. You always take it in PvE. It's also an evasion debuff, which again helps you in PvE. It's just the slam dunk skill that you use in PvE every time. Okay. As far as the bottom here goes, most people take Equilibrium Break in PvP and PvE. Equilibrium Break is a lingering frontal guard. Okay. And it can be mouse moved in succession, but not in Awakening. So if I do this... Oh, God. Okay. It will turn the frontal guard in succession. Okay, so you can turn it. And it's a long, lingering frontal guard. Long, lingering... Why is that over here? Why is this here? What? Go to your home. Okay. Yeah, you can mouse move it. And we're going to get into mouse move a little bit later. There's some fancy stuff that you can do in succession with mouse move. But Equilibrium Break is generally what you take because the kit is very short on super armors. You don't, frontal guards. You don't have a lot of frontal guards in succession. So people take Equilibrium Break because it's a nice get out of jail free card to protect yourself from incoming range damage. It's really good. It's also decent DPS in PvE as well. And in PvE, again, you take it because, again, it's a frontal guard. Frontal guards are better for PvE because they just block incoming damage. There is precedent to take Aqua Jail. So in AOS, you're probably going to want Aqua Jail. Aqua Jail is a big AoE slow around you. It's 20% move speed slow, and it's another super armor, okay? So, like, you could go in, you could Voltaic, and then you could Aqua Jail. And you slap everyone with a big slow. It also does decent damage as well, okay? Again, if you want an extra super armor with the slow and stuff, and you feel like people are constantly... If you're playing against a lot of flankers and a lot of rats and stuff that are constantly trying to get behind you, Aqua Jail is probably a better option because they can't CC you out of Aqua Jail, right? Unless they grab you. So they grab... How about Kuno? Not the best. Not the best. But it's okay. It'll one-shot the packs, but it's going to be a really high APM. It's going to be a struggle grind, but you'll get through it. It'll be fine. All right. Big differences between Awakening and Succession. In Awakening, we talked about teleport, how these two teleports are chained together. If this one is on cooldown, you can't use this one. You have to use them together. But in Succession, you have something called split teleport. So you can TP and then TP again. And you'll notice that your two TPs at the bottom of the screen here are on different cooldowns now. Okay, so you have effectively two movement skills now instead of only having the one. So you have split teleport. This makes you a much better duelist because you have way more mobility to work with. You can get yourself out of jail and constantly TP around. You always have Earth's response. Then you have magical evasion. You have your very importantly this magical evasion. Where's magical evasion at? Yeah, magical evasion in Succession goes a greater distance but doesn't have protection on it, but you actually go way further, especially than Succession Wizard. Succ Wizard has a pitifully bad magical evasion. Succession Witch can go much further with it, but it is unprotected. Again, you still have the mass teleport, so again you can teleport your allies. You can teleport your allies in and out, okay? So if let's say my ally is laying on the ground way over there, right? He's in the middle of the boys and we have to get him out, right? You could theoretically double TP in, grab him, and TP yourself way back out again and TP him to safety. Okay? You can do some really cool things with the mass teleport, but the most of the time what people do is they use it as an iframe. It's a get out of jail free card. If you find yourself in a situation with a lot of enemies on top of you and you just can't get away, you can use mass teleport and get away quickly. Okay? It's basically an instant iframe, and then you double TP away. Okay? So you get an iframe for like 4 or 5 seconds, and it's a get out of jail free card. That's what most people use it for, but there are obviously a lot of practical applications for parties, AOS, and large scale PvP. Can be a lot of fun. One important thing to note that we're going to go over right now, dagger stab we talked about. Yeah, let's finish the skills first. Dagger stab we talked about. You have to hotbar this to use it now. It's garbage. Don't even bother. It used to have some really cool cancels you could do with it. It's really not worth doing anymore. The developers actually have forgotten about this skill. It's got an F key input, but so does your Magnus skill. So when you tap F, you will cast the Magnus skill. Okay. You see I'm hitting F right now and it's not doing anything. Okay, that's because dagger stab doesn't actually work anymore unless you put it on your hotbar, because the developers are idiots and forgot about it. But it's useless anyway, so we don't care. Magical shield gives you the 30% resistances across the board for 30 seconds, and it also turns your mana bar into an absorbs. Your mana bar becomes an HP bar essentially for 30 seconds. So when you take damage, you will lose mana instead of HP for 30 seconds. Be mindful of this though, as you will run out of mana very quickly if somebody bursts you really. Mana absorption, we talked about this. You just hit the space bar and it gives you a frontal guard. It saps your opponent's mana for 30% of their mana bar, and you absorb it for 30% of your mana bar. It also slows them by 50% for 4 seconds. So if you hit someone with this, which is practical in succession, because people are going to be diving you, okay, you can hit them with this very quickly and then TP away, and then they're slowed. You don't have paralysis in succession. You have to rely on other slows in the kit to make it work. Okay, so like when somebody's coming near you, you can just hit spacebar after most any other skill and just slow them down just like that. Okay, it's a really good skill, especially in succession. In Awakening, you don't use it as much. In succession, you definitely use it a lot as a close range slow for yourself. It's also frontal guarded. We talked about how there's not very many frontal guards in the kit to actually use practically, so that is an excellent skill. We talked about Resurrection in the Awakening kit as well. Resurrection is like, it's a buggy skill. It doesn't actually work very often. It's like 50-50 whether it's actually going to work. It doesn't work in large scale PvP. It does not work in AOS or any sort of PvP kind of like that. It works in open world and it works in the dungeon. If he does it. If you use it there. It was indeedy do. Speed spell. Again, speed spell is one of the best buffs in the kit that you have for yourself and all nearby allies. It gives move speed, attack speed, and cast speed to yourself and all surrounding allies for the next 30 seconds. It's on a 50-second cooldown, so like you can basically have this running most of the time. Okay, you definitely want to be speed spelling as frequently as you can in large scale PvP and in PvE, because again, it's upping your cast speed, which ups your ability to cast spells, and so you need to constantly have this on uptime. Okay, always be using speed spell. Healing aura is a 20% heal for yourself and allies. You want to put it on the hotbar because it's like a baby heal. You're like, oh, that guy's really low, I'll just heal him. I don't want to use my full heal, but I can baby heal him, right? It also baby heals you as well. How about Awakening Wiz? I have not done an Awakening Wiz guide yet, but I just finished the Awakening Witch guide. Awakening Wiz guide would be definitely a little bit different for sure. But I could definitely do a guide on that too. That's piece of cake. So there's your healing aura again. That's if you have one ally that's really low on health, you can toss him a baby heal. This is one of the skills that I put on my hotbar. And it also heals yourself. So like if you don't want to waste your full heal on yourself, you can baby heal yourself and then pop back up. Healing Lighthouse is the big AoE heal. It takes a really long time to cast. But you see the massive AoE, the pulsing AoE on that skill is really good. I will say that, again, good witches do not suicide bomb in order to get heals off, okay? Most people on this class are always going to do the same dumb shit when they try to get close. Succession Witch is a ranged class. You very rarely are getting close to your opponent except to cast things like Blizzard, and that is about it. That is about it. Okay, so when you go into heal, let's say that there's people right here. You have your boys right here. This is the area that you need to get healed right here, right in here. Okay, you do not want to TP into the circle. Do not go into the middle of everyone to try to heal people. This is a terrible spot. Do not do this. Do not be here. Do not be here. Okay, the best thing that you can do is you constantly want to keep your distance, but you want to keep your boys healed up. So what you do is you TP to a safe distance on the outskirts of the fight, drop the heal, and then TP back away again. And then keep throwing your damage. Do not go all the way in. Positioning is very important on heals. Do not just dive in. It is an unprotected skill. You will die if you try to use it in the middle of everyone. Okay? I'm enjoying your YouTube video as I grind. Keep up the good work, brother. Thanks so much, Star Fox. I really appreciate that support, man. Thank you. Just the tip. Hey, boy. What up, Sigga? How you doing, buddy? Good morning, handsome. Good morning. I hope you're doing better. We're doing well. We are doing better than we were last week. And it's just every day, you just one day at a time. One day at a time. Just get a little bit better every day. A little bit better every day. Right? Okay. All right, so that's how you want to position on heals. Okay. Protected area. This is shift Q. PA. People call this PA. Okay, so when you hear PA, oh, PA1, PA1, PA2, PA2, they're calling for wizards and witches to use this skill right here. It gives yourself and all of the allies around you a 50% damage reduction buff for 8 seconds. It basically makes them invincible for the next 8 seconds. You can still be killed through PA. It's just really hard. Okay, but like, this is critically important in large scale PvP for engagements. Okay, so when you use PA, you'll notice the big AoE. The big AoE around me. Okay, that's when you want to dive in and just get your damage down. Okay, because this is when you're most tanky. This is when you're most tanky. Okay, then you back off and you use your range skills. Okay, but you're basically using that at the start of the fight every time. So we talked about protected area. One thing about PA that you should note is that when you use this, there is a 1 minute cooldown on being able to get the buff again. So you can't just PA and then PA again, and then PA again, and then just always be PA'd because you have so many staffs. You used to be able to do that, then they took it away. Only took them 6 years. But like, so when you use PA like this, it gives you a debuff. Okay? So you see on my buff bar right down here, here's the PA buff right here, here's the debuff right here. It's a 1 minute debuff. It basically just says that you can't get PA again for another minute. If you misuse this skill, no one in your guild can get PA for the next minute, and you have just killed the entire guild. Okay? If you use it too early, when you weren't supposed to, and then the engage happens, and no one can get PA, you've probably just killed everyone. So, like, please don't PA like an idiot until people tell you to. All right, Spellbar and Heart. We talked about this in Awakening. It's attached to, like, the pet. But in Succession, you actually do have to hotbar it and use it. Okay? This gives you a 10% move speed buff and a 250 MP regen, so your mana will regen faster. You always want to put this on. It's a 10-minute buff, okay? So you only have to remember to do this every time you spawn. In large-scale PvP, you have to get up and you have to use your blue orb. Every time. You should get in the habit of get up, use your blue orb, use your blue orb, use your blue orb. In PvE, you only have to do it like 6 times an hour, okay? So, like, just remember that this move speed buff is important. You have very fast run speed. This is your red orb. So in PvE, what makes Succession Witch actually, like, solid and allows her to keep up with other classes is that, again, she's pretty safe in PvE. You can red orb, and all of the mobs will attack the red orb instead of you. Okay, and then the idea is that you get in behind them and you back attack the shit out of them with your MMA. Okay? Like, you just weave your MMA in between all your skills and burst them down with Blizzard. So, like, is it doable in PvE? Absolutely, but you're gonna waste a lot more APM than the Awakening counterpart. Typically, people just say that that's not worth doing. I will say that if you have to DFS, you're going to be way better off in Succession. We talked about Red Orb. All the mobs will aggro that thing, so you always use that in PvE. Sage's Memory is different in Succession, and we're going to talk about it right now. So in Succession, Sage's Memory is always running. Always running, okay? Notice that in Succession, there are cast times on all of your skills. Okay, There are cast times on every skill. You see the little load bar at the bottom of the screen there? Okay. All right. Now, for Succession Witch, and this is a very fundamental aspect of the class that Succession Wizard also has, you can instant cast all of your skills so long as you use one of two things before it. If you use Earth's Response, there is no cast time on your skills. Okay? So, whenever you're seeing like Huntler bang out skills, or you're seeing any Succession Witch or Wizard bang out skills, they usually use Earth's Response first, and they just start pounding skills out, right? Or you can Magical Evasion will also let you instant cast skills. Okay? Magical Evasion, that little side hop like this, will also allow you to instant cast skills. All right? Also, very importantly, you can instant cast skills after Teleport. Okay? So there is no... You notice how quickly that Voltaic came out? If I just normal cast Voltaic standing here, you'll notice that little... There's a load bar down here. You know what? Direct your attention right down here. Right down here. Right there. There's a load bar there. There is no load bar if I do it after Teleport, or Magical Evasion, or Earth's Response. See? No load bar. It just instantly comes out. So what this basically means is you're just a machine gun, man. You just absolutely are cranking out skills all the time. You feel like a master of all of the elements. Like, I mean, you feel like an absolute minigun specialist, bro. Minigun specialist. Okay? Like, you're just constantly cranking out the entire kit. That's what makes Succession Witch so hard. You have to know every single skill and track all of the different cooldowns all the time, because you're always using skills constantly. And then as long as you use skills, you're like queuing them up on your keyboard. Okay? So like if I use Earth's Response, Fireball, Fireball Explosion, then I can queue up Meteor, right? You see how quickly Meteor comes down? As long as you're queuing up the next skill, it will all instant cast. If you don't queue up the next skill and like put in the key input or whatever, it's not going to instant cast. It's going to go back to like normal bitch casting. Okay. If you wait too long after your teleport, it's also not going to instant cast. So if I do this and then I wait and then I do it, you'll notice it casted really slow. Okay. So you basically have to be mid teleport and slam down the Voltaic Pulse, and then immediately Frigid Fog, and then immediately like you're just constantly throwing out skills. Just like this. Right? You're always throwing skills. There's just all this shit. It's like you're just bombarding them with constant CC, constantly blasting out skills. And you're always trying to make sure that they're instant casting, okay? Because if you're slow casting, you're embarrassing yourself in front of your friends. Okay, so like that's a very fundamental core aspect of Succession, both Succession Witch and Succession Wizard, that you need to understand and be able to utilize correctly if you want to play this class at even a reasonable level. Okay, yeah, you can slow cast at like low end spots and stuff, but you really can't get away with that if you want to be relatively efficient in PvE. If you actually want to be competitive and kill people in PvP, you're gonna need to be able to instant cast skills like this. You ever watch Belly play? Belly taught me. Belly taught me. So when I went to play Succession Witch, we got into the battle arena. I've been in the battle arena with Belly probably 5 or 6 times, and he told me all of the different things that you can do on Succ Witch. There's stuff that he told me that is tech that I'm not even going over in this guide, because it's, one, it's kind of outdated at this point, but 2, it's just like mind-blowingly fucking crazy. That guy can do things on this class that are just out of this world, and I will get into a little bit of that in a little bit when I finish going over these passives. So all right, so you have mind training. Again, this is crazy important. It gives you cast speed and AP at every level. This is very important. Cast speed, especially on Succ Witch, is critically important. You need to make sure this is leveled up as quickly as you can. Okay. Magic power boost is just AP plus 20, no big deal. Burning impulse, again, you're just getting, these are all just your passives. Magic AP plus 1, critical hit rate 2%, sure. Luminous touch is the same thing. Freezing gaze is magic AP plus 1, evasion rate 2%. I would say that as far as builds go, we went over builds for Awakening Witch. For Succession Witch, I think that DR is better. For Awakening Witch, I think Evasion is better. For Succession Witch, I think DR is better because you're primarily a ranged cannon. You don't need the stats from Evasion. You should probably just get the extra accuracy and just start pounding people with DR. So like if you're very interested in Succession, and Awakening can be played with DR. So like just build DR. If you want to play both, just build DR. You'll be fine. I don't play Succ Witch very often, so I'm Evasion because I'm an Awakening Witch and I'm a shot caller, so I use this big DP set, right? But in Succession, you basically want to have accuracy artifacts. And there's a number of different artifact combos that you can use that are basically accuracy intensive. Succession Witch does not have a crazy amount of accuracy, and so you need to have at least 2 accuracy accessories, and then like accuracy artifacts if you really want to make sure that she's doing enough damage in late game PvP. In mid game and early game PvP, you're not going to have to worry about it. This is strictly for late game PvP. You're going to need at least 2 accuracy accessories to kind of get the job done in Succession. Awakening's not going to need nearly as much accuracy because she already has it on the most of her skills. You think Witch is going to get buffed too? If so, what would you want them to change? I don't think it needs to be buffed. I think it's probably going to... I think Awakening Witch might get nerfed in PvE. Her PvP needs to be buffed pretty badly. She needs split teleport in PvP. In my opinion, Awakening Witch split teleport would help make Awakening Witch competitive but not broken in PvP. I'm being honest. See you, Delamere. Thanks again. Going to bed. Very nice guide. I'll rewatch on YouTube when you release. Thanks so much, Delamere. I appreciate that. No shot. They nerfed something else besides Wusa in PvE. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I was wondering if you could help me. I enchanted my Naruto pen to Tuvala 1 without equipping my Naruto pen for the season pass quest. How can I complete the quest? It should complete the quest regardless. If you just unequip and equip it again, it should... Yeah, oh yeah, no, yeah, you have to just talk to the Black Spirit. I was gonna say, that this is a bug that a lot of players have run into. Just talk to the Black Spirit, you'll be fine. Yeah, they added that very recently because people were running into it all the time. Magnificent Steps is again just AP and DP plus 2. Yeah, whatever. These are just like you take all these because they're just extra stats. Elemental Flow. All this is saying is it's telling you about your instant cast, which we already went over, and then there's this other thing that you can do on Succ Witch if you're super lazy. Okay, if you just hold down right mouse button, it will just keep casting skills. You can literally just hold right mouse button. You can use a fire skill, hold right mouse button, and it will use every single fire skill in your kit that is off cooldown. Then you can do the same thing for every single element. So if I wanted to use Voltaic and hold right mouse button, it will use every single lightning skill in my kit. Without having to do anything. Okay? This is a terrible way to play Succession Witch and Succession Wizard. Do not do this. It's garbage. Like you essentially use your skills out of order and you're not optimizing your damage either way. It's really bad. Do not do that. Anyone that tells you to just hold down right mouse button and says that Succession Witch and Wizard are really easy to play because you can hold right mouse button is dog shit at the game, and you should not be listening to them. Okay? Do not do that. You can do that if you're just trying to be lazy at like a Rift boss and stuff. Yeah, sure, whatever, no one cares. And like at low end PvE spots, no one's gonna give a shit. But like, and as you're like learning the class, like sure, but like, don't do this. It's really bad. Just at least MMA in between. No, it doesn't MMA at all. Okay, and that's part of the reason why it's so bad. Again, we talked about these skills down here. If you're a DR build, you can probably do ranged DR plus 5. Because you're not getting close. You're probably only going to get hit by range damage. Your DP is primarily exists so that you can survive chip damage from other ranged classes. Rangers, archers, other succession staffs, awakening staffs, things like this, right? So like if you just take the range DR, you're probably going to be better off in succession. But like I'm awakening, so like I have the evasion rate. Right? You can play Succession with an evasion build. To be clear, you can absolutely play Succession Witch with an evasion build. It's just not going to feel as good as if you had DR on. He streamed Elden Ring for 14 hours the other day. His stream is still small. True. Okay, so we've gone through all of these skills and all of this stuff. Okay, so we went through the PvE version of each skill. Okay, so if you're in PvE, you should have a different The game gives you 2 skill presets, and for Succession Witch, it's very important that you use both. One for PvE, one for PvP. You'll see that I have actually all 5. Because I play Awakening and Succession, I still don't have enough presets. If I could have a 6th preset, I would be fine, right? So I have grinding. This is Awakening grinding preset. This is Succession PvE. This is Succession PvP. This is capped PvP for Awakening. This is uncapped DP for Awakening. And I don't have one that's uncapped AP for Awakening. Okay? So, like, you definitely use a lot of these skill setups. One of the biggest advantages of Succession Witch is that you can hone all of this stuff to your playstyle. So although I said some of these skills can be used, oh yeah, this is the PvP one, oh, this is the PvE one, you can definitely use these. Like Voltaic, you can use Voltaic Pulse in PvP. It's really good. Okay, you can use the other Frigid Fog in PvP. It can be really good. You can use the other Earth's Response in PvP. You can cater this class to your exact playstyle and how you want to play it and what you want your skills to do based on how you want to play the class, right? That's super cool. The problem is, if you want to do everything on Succ Witch, you're constantly going to be switching with between different skill presets to try to get the job done. For example, in PvE, you could be grinding, right? And you have your PvE grind set on. Here, let me put it on. You're going to have your PvE grind set on. Somebody's going to come up and DFS you, and you're just going to be like, well, fuck. You have to go to the battle arena, swap your add-ons to get to the PvP skills, then come back, DFS them, and if you win, then you have to go back to the battle arena again to swap your skill add-ons again, back to the PvE setup, then back to the... it's miserable. It's miserable. But yeah, so like you're constantly going to be switching between this stuff. There's no BSR skills to really go over here. You're not really going to be using the 200% ever. Your lightning skill is actually really good. Your prime lightning is really good. I didn't actually use it here. I'll wait and I'll get my BSR back and then I'll use it for you guys. But it's a really big AoE lightning storm around you, and it's a stun on every single hit. So like if you don't die in the middle of the skill is actually amazing. But like most of the time, you're probably going to die in the middle of the skill. If it's open world PvP. Right? In AOS and in capped PvP, where you're probably not going to die, especially like in T1 Node Wars, that skill is really good because you catch a lot of people in that stun. It's really good. It's really good. What DP jewelry does Shy use? This right here. I also have a gear guide. And if you go to the end of the gear guide, I do DP set and I talk about what Shys need. Okay, so I would just go into that. This whole guide will be uploaded with chapters to jump. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, there are actually going to be 2 guides here. Note, there's the Awakening guide, and then you're going to have to block it up, and then there's the Succession guide. I apologize in advance, and if you need help, let me know. Okay. As far as build goes, again, you're going to need... here, I'll put in all my normal stuff again. You're a ranged class, okay? Meaning you need to have as much range damage as you can. You usually want to use Nuver, okay? You usually want to use Nuver and DR. So I have a pen Nuver. I don't know where it is. There it is. Okay. So like, you're basically going to be using Nuver and a DR build because you just want to crank damage. Okay. If you get CC'd, you're dead. Don't get CC'd. That's the solution. Okay. Do not get CC'd on this class. This is how you would PvE. This is what your PvE looks like. Okay? You just stand there and you're just blasting skills out as quickly as you can. As quickly as you can. Lou, you're beautiful. Damn. Thanks, Scotty. Okay. I think I've covered everything. As far as combos go, let's go over combos just a little bit here. Actually, I just wanted to show everyone Succession this is what like my PvE setup looks like for Succession. So like Voltaic, you have Equilibrium Break. Okay. You're constantly just banging out skills. And you're always weaving your MMA in between each of your skills. Okay? Always, always, always. Okay? Always, always, always. But you see how high APM that is? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to get that done. Is it good? Yeah. But, like, it's so much more work than Awakening that no one really does PvE in succession ever. It takes me about 15 minutes. I'm like, I'm gonna grind and Succ today. It takes me about 15 minutes to regret that decision, map to town, get Awakening, and then come back. Is Succ Witch, if Succ Witch is so good in PvP, why do you play Awakening in Node Wars? Because I'm the shot caller, and as I explained before, Awakening has more, so Awakening's class buff, it's up here, gives all of the defensive stats to your allies, okay? Succession's class buff does not do that. So Awakening has more support capabilities. Awakening can teleport in and like be in with the homies, okay? And Awakening is much, much easier, like mechanically, because when you're shot calling, you're focused on a lot of different things. You're focused on the mini map, you're focused on what's going on in back end comms, you're trying to look at what people are doing in the fight and how the fight is going, you're trying to get heals off and stuff. You need a class that is really mechanically simple. Awakening fits that bill. Now, if you're really good at Succession Witch, yeah, no, it's just an amazing class. Absolutely amazing. But the problem is, if you want to play Succession, it's going to be really APM intensive. Even if you're really good at that, it's going to take away from your ability to actually get stuff done. You can see this is what my UI looks like in Succession. Again, all my movement skills are across the bottom. All of my support skills are over here. And all of my damage skills are over here. I will say, we didn't go over Rabams. Let's go over Rabams really quickly. Sage's Light, again. Now, I will say Sage's Thunder definitely has more of a place in Succession. This is a really good skill. In Succession particularly. It's a ranged instantaneous stun. And it's really solid. It also gives you some DP and stuff. Again, it's just more ranged CC damage. You can't go wrong with it, right? So a lot of people do choose to go Sage's Thunder in PvP and PvE. It's solid. But Sage's Light is the instant heal that we talked about before. That's the one that I choose. This is your normal heal right here. You'll look how slow this is to come out like that. And then this is the Rabam heal. It's way faster. It's way faster. And it gives you an extra heal, which is very important because, let's be honest, Witch is here. You're here to make sure that you're supporting people. Yes, you're a crazy high DPS, like range DPS, but you're also there to make sure you're supporting people. And Sage's Light is the team player skill. This is like, you're a team player. This is what you need to use. Okay. Lightning arrows. Okay, yeah, these don't matter. You're probably not going to use these because your normal MMA is so good. You're probably never going to have to deviate to these. You could use the frontal guard one, but it does a lot less damage. Lightning arrows definitely just, I don't know. Both of them are garbage. Both of them do no damage and have no effectiveness. Mana arrows at least is frontal guarded. I'm pretty sure you have to put it on the hotbar. Okay, so if I want to use this... Yeah, do you see how useless that skill is? It's got no range on it. It's a frontal guard, but like whatever, no one cares. It's basically dog shit. So we went through the Rabam skills. Is there anything I have missed? Skill add-ons. How could I forget? This is what your skill add-ons look like for PvE. Okay. Voltaic Pulse has your DP and evasion debuff on it. Equilibrium Break has all accuracy plus 4%, critical hit rate plus 20%. MMA, this is, again, you're always using MMA all the time. So you're always going to have the monster buff, or the all AP to monsters plus 20 and attack cast speed plus 7. The Fireball Explosion, this is like the, this is the big AoE one. This is the AoE Fireball. Back attack damage and critical hit damage. This is really good because, as I explained in the Awakening guide, you put down the red orb, you get behind all the mobs, and you're basically back attack all the time because of your red orb. Back attack damage is very critical. Frigid Fog is really good. Okay. Earthquake. This is Earthquake Destruction. And you have to stand in super armor while you use it, so sometimes you can die. So I put DP plus 15 and all evasion rate plus 4%. This is what your succession add-ons look like if you're trying to play in PvE. Okay. If you want to look for PvP succession, this is more what you're going to look at. Now, I use this for capped PvP for succession. Okay. So normally you would take equilibrium break and you would have things on equilibrium break, probably a defensive buff on equilibrium break if you're an uncapped PvP. This is for like AOS. Capped PvP in general, I like Aqua Jail just because to be honest with you, I dive a lot more frequently and I like having the big AoE slow on there. Now in large scale PvP, even in capped large scale PvP, I'm using equilibrium break basically every time just because it's an extra frontal guard. Okay, but in small scale and GVGs, I like to use Aqua Jail just because and I add slows on here. So like that's the one thing that you can kind of change here. Bolide is critical hit rate and attack cast speed because again you're using Bolide all the time in PvP. Okay, Earth and Eruption, this is the Magnus skill. This is really good. You could technically put an add-on on this in PvE as well. Really good skill. You're always using it. It's very, very, very good. I put 100% or 100 bleed on this and down attack damage plus 3%. Okay. Usually I put the down attack damage on this because usually I'm only going in with Earth and Eruption if they're already on the ground. MMA, obviously critical hit rate and attack cast speed plus 7%. That's the same because you're always using MMA all the time. Fireball Explosion, remember this is the ranged Fireball Explosion. This time I give it 100 bleed because Fireball Explosion already has a burn on it and you put the bleed on here too and effectively they have no more potion anymore. It's really, really good. It's really, really good. Extra damage to humans plus 10. That's really good because you're trying to maximize your DPS in succession. And Fireball Explosion is basically the skill you're going to use to re-CC people. So you really want that human damage so that then you can hit them with the big damage and finish the job. Blizzard is attack cast speed minus 10% because again, Blizzard slows people. Okay, so you want to put another slow on here is really good. And then I put a bleed on here because again, this is a capped PvP succession add-on kit. So like, take that for what it's worth. In uncapped, you're probably not putting a bleed on here. You're putting a different tier 3 add-on on this skill. Okay, because this is your tier 3 add-on. Okay. Okay, so that's add-ons. We went through all the skills. As far as combos go, for Awakening goes, for Succession, you're basically... Oh, damn it. I have to change my skills around. Hold on. See, this is the problem with Succession Witch, is that sometimes you have to make sure that you're using... I think I have the right... I have the correct Blizzard. I don't have the right Frigid Fog. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you basically are always leading off with Bolide from range here. Okay, oh, it's like, oh, I CC'd them. You can re-CC them with range with Fireball Explosion, and then get in close for a Blizzard. Okay, and then an Earthquake Evade backwards to kind of get away from them. Okay, but like you really don't ever have to get anywhere near your opponent in PvP here. Okay, ever, for any reason. We got a hype train, good stuff. When you're done streaming, can I get a picture with you? Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can do it here in a second. Okay, so basically you just want to stay at range. The entire playstyle here is different than Awakening Witch. Awakening Witch is always looking for an opportunity to dart in and just drop all of her damage at the same time. Okay, but then there's really not very much of an exit strategy. Succession Witch, you're definitely just darting around the outside of the fight, looking to try to throw damage down from range. Okay, and you always have your MMA and stuff ready. Oh, do I not have that? Oh, I already used it. Okay, you've got your Bolide. Okay, you can use Equilibrium Break if you need a frontal guard. Okay. Okay, you've also got your Meteor. You're like, okay, they're knocked down. I'm gonna TP in. I'm gonna get my Blizzard off. Now I'm gonna Earthquake Evade back, get a little bit more damage down, and now I'm back to throwing ranged pressure again. Over and over and over, always ranged pressure. Always ranged pressure. Okay. Always range pressure. You're just darting around the outside of the fight, constantly being the really pesky, annoying duelist. You want to be as slippery as an oiled up eel. Okay? Like, actually, the most slippery thing ever. Grab classes will have a much harder time fighting you in succession because you're constantly able to TP around. I can TP over here. Oh, you're running over here. I'm going to TP over there. Oh, you're coming over here. I'm going to Earth Response. I'm going to Earthquake Evade behind you. I'm gonna magical evasion away. I'm gonna earth response again. Oh, I have TP up again. Okay, there we go. Oh, now we've got magical evasion. Oh, there's another teleport. Oh, we're just gonna use this again. Okay, like you're always able to move all the time. Okay, you're always able to move. If you feel like you've run out of movement skills, it's because you're bad. Okay, you will always have a movement skill up on Succession Witch, and you can constantly keep moving. This is what makes her a much better duelist than Awakening. Much better in small scale PvP, and ultimately better in large scale PvP. Just PvP in general. Whereas Awakening, definitely a lot easier, but you lose a lot of the skill ceiling here. Let's go over mouse move. Let's go over the mouse move. There's a lot of cool things that you can do with mouse move on Succession Witch. Okay, one of which is, this is Earth's response. This is normal Earth's response. Okay, you just move slightly to the right or to the left, whether or not you hit A or D. Okay, but if you're really good, okay, you can spin the Earth's response and actually get in behind your target. Okay, like that. Do you see how I literally went around him? You can also do the same thing with magical evasion, like I just did right there. Okay, so magical evasion normally is just A or D in a direction. Okay, like this. All right, you can mouse move that too. There's a lot that you can get away with Succession Witch. You can also mouse move your TP. Okay, and then you end up TPing to a random location. You're like, oh my god, it's not random. Like, you know where you're gonna go, but your opponent doesn't. And you can use all of these different tools and all of this different mouse move stuff to keep your opponent guessing all the time. Okay, so like, and this is again very fundamentally important to the skill ceiling of Succession Witch. The better you are at mouse moving, the better you will be at this class. Okay, you'll notice that I can TP, and I can TP in any direction. Okay, I can go forward, I can go backward, I can go around people in a circle. It's actually just insane. And then again, equilibrium break can be mouse moved too. So if you want to turn a frontal guard in the middle of the skill, you can literally, like, someone's going around you and you're taking damage like in a circle, you can literally just turn the frontal guard in the middle of the skill, right? Even though your character's still facing this way, you can turn it this way. There's a lot of different things that you can mouse move in the Succession Witches kit. In mouse move, in Awakening, mouse move is not really a thing. You can mouse move the TP, that's about it. You can mouse move some of the skills, but it doesn't turn the frontal guard. You don't really care. Another big one is Earthquake Evade. So Earthquake Evade moves you back, and normally the skill casts right in front of you, like this. Okay. However, if you mouse move it, you can get the skill to cast anywhere that you want. Okay, so if your opponent moves while you're in the Earthquake Evade, you can actually move the skill to follow them. You just got to keep your cursor on your opponent. Okay, so like if he moves over there in the middle of Earthquake Evade, I'm like, oh, bam, right? I can spin the skill in the middle of the skill up until it starts casting. So like, as long as you're like moving like this, see, I can turn it this way, I can turn it that way. Okay, it doesn't really matter. But like, there's all kinds of stuff that you can do with mouse move on Succession Witch. People are always discovering new things and new ways to play the class at an even better and better level. The skill ceiling on Succession Witch is one of the highest in the game overall, for sure. If you watch Belly, you would know. Belly BDO is one of the best, or it's probably the best Succession Witch that exists in the game, like worldwide. The things that he invented on, there's certain things that he invented on the class that other people just like have struggled to replicate, right? So like, just absolutely spectacular. Use mouse to move in your settings. Okay, I have it toggled on, and then I have this button on my mouse is actually hotkeyed to control. Believe it or not, it's kind of not, but that way I can always select my mouse without it. Control is kind of an annoying key to have to push. It's kind of an annoying key to have to push. So like, I have it on my mouse because then it releases my mouse, right? And then I can reach around on my screen. Okay, and so it's really good even if you don't use mouse move. If you put control on your mouse button or on your wheel or whatever, it's really nice. It's really nice. It also allows you to mouse move, and you start to learn how to mouse move, just like that. Okay, so when I want to use, this is the, I come in here, this is what the ultimate looks like. These are stuns on every hit, every single hit, and it does a shitload of damage. It basically stun locks them for the full 2 seconds. right? And it does a lot of damage. It's a really good ultimate ability. It's really good in PvE too. It just might get you killed. As long as you don't die in the skill, it's really good. Greetings from Thailand. Hey, go hey. How you doing? Just Awakening Wizard. I can make an Awakening Wizard guide too. That one's pretty easy. That one's pretty easy. I think I've basically gone through everything on Succ. There's a really high skill ceiling on this class. It's really high APM. It's a much better duelist. It's got a lot more mobility to work with, and it's also extremely customizable. Like way more. If you like to customize your class and like get really nitty gritty on this, it's an amazing class for you. It's just super good. Just understand you're gonna be switching between skill presets pretty frequently. Then ain't a girl blue? I don't care anymore. Okay. What's the cooldown on the ult? Well, there is no cooldown. It's just when you have Black Spirit Rage. Okay? So if you have 100% Black Spirit Rage, this little button right here. When you have 100% of this, you can use your ultimate. Okay? All your ultimate is it's just lightning. This skill. Okay? It's that skill, except that it's super buffed. Okay, Succession. And you see everyone is playing Succession Witch in AOS because it's way better. It's way better. Okay, Succession Witch in AOS is objectively better. It's actually a really good class in AOS. Really solid. Awakening is much tougher. We should go through matchups really quick. Succession and Awakening Wizard are exactly the same as before. If you're playing against an Awakening Witch, you just stand at range and pummel her until she dies. Do not get near her. She will kill you. If you're playing against another Succession Witch, pummel her at range until she dies. Like, it's pretty simple. Okay, Awakening Wiz and Succession Wiz are both exactly the same. Stand at range. Honestly, Awakening Wizard's a really easy matchup for you. He has no range, and you can just TP away from him all the time. All he's got is a double TP, Hellfire, and Elementalization. You just kite him around and kill him. It's really easy. He doesn't have enough frontal guards to stop your range damage. Shy, you just swap servers. DK is actually kind of a tough matchup for you because she's always jumping around and trying to get in behind you, and you're pretty unprotected. So if it's an Awakening DK, she's going to hit you with Seed of Catastrophe. You need to watch out for Seed of Catastrophe and TP away from it. Aside from that, you're probably going to be just fine. Succession DK is constantly going to try to get on top of you, so just keep TPing away from her and she will run out of stamina and you just kill her from range. It's really easy. Corsair, Succ Corsair, just keep TPing away. You're probably never going to kill her though because she's got too much evasion. You need to make sure that you're using evasion debuffs on her constantly. Earth arrows are really good. DP debuff at least. Voltaic is not necessarily a bad choice against Succession Corsair, but like you're gonna struggle to kill a really geared Succession Corsair because you just don't have the accuracy unless you've got enough accuracy accessories on. But like you don't really care about the fact that she can break your frontal guard. She's too slow moving to really catch you. You just kite around and try to kill her from range like you do everything else. Swap servers. Like again, Mystics, all Mystics are the same and they're all garbage. They just run at you. I'm gonna grab the... Okay, like, so you just run away constantly until she exhausts herself, and then you just swap servers. Dracona, you're literally one of these people. You lead these people. Tell me, Dracona, that your strategy against the Succession... Okay, come on. Let's do it. Okay, you want to talk? Let's do it. What's your strategy against Succession Witch, Dracona? I'm gonna grab her. Tell me that your strategy is not to just I'm gonna run at her and I'm gonna grab her. Go on, I'll wait. I ain't not gonna lie, I grabbed a Succ Witch yesterday. The defense rests. Okay, so they're just mindlessly gonna run at you until they try to grab you, okay? And you just keep TPing away from them until they exhaust themselves. You're probably never going to be able to kill them. Although I will say that Succession Mystic is actually kind of easy to kill if you have the accuracy to do so. Again, you can class buff and that will help you. I'm pretty sure there's 15% accuracy on your class buff. Yeah, it's got 15% accuracy, 20% cast speed, 30% crit rate, all AP plus 20, all DP plus 15. Okay, so like if you class buff, you can probably kill her. Succ Mystic is basically going to stand. She's going to use Soul Basher to basically linger super armor. Slow. Just slow the shit out of her. Hit her with your lightning skills. Okay, hit her with your lightning skills, get the slow on her, hit her with a blizzard, and then get away from her and just kite her around like the monkey that she is and kill her. Okay, if she tries to get near you, TP away because she's just going to try to grab you. If she misses the grab, it's because, again, she's bad, and you can, again, just keep kiting her around until she dies. Okay, you are extremely slippery on Succession Witch. Okay, extremely slippery. So like, you should be able to fight these grab classes. You are gonna have to worry about it. It is tough, but like, there are certain staffs in the game, like Details, who never allow themselves to be caught like this. So like, and it's definitely possible if you're good enough. If you're good enough, just understand that Mystic is one of the classes that is just belligerently going to run at you, okay, until you die. Okay, and it's really tough to deal with because their APM is like 5 and yours is like 187. Awakening Mystic is basically the same thing, except she's got a lot more slows that you have to deal with, and she does absolutely no damage. This is a Meiwa. Meiwa's actually a pretty decent matchup for you. Again, you just kite around. She can't really get on top of you super effectively, and you just kite her around and kill her with slows and stuff. It's really not crazy hard. She's going to basically try to dash on top of you and two-shot you. She's not necessarily going to try to CC you. She's not necessarily, because death is the best CC. Okay. Both Awakening and Succession Meiwa are going to handle it similarly. They're going to try to stub arrow you, so you need to be careful. You have a lot of unprotected range, so you need to be careful about stub arrow. Okay, because the stub arrow is actually in Awakening, you're not worried about stub arrow. Nobody gives a shit, loser. But in Succession, yeah, no, you're definitely, it's a threat, and you can actually be knocked or stunned off of it or stiffened off of it, and she can kill you. So definitely watch the stub arrow. It's a ranged skill. Equilibrium break is a really good lingering frontal guard, and again, make sure that you're super armored, and you should be just fine pelting them from range. If Blue is in my server, I'd let him pass and kill my teammates. Because I would make fun of you if you didn't. Okay. Okay, so we got through that. Okay, Guardian. Just like in Awakening, she's going to put her shield up and then she's going to run at you. And if you look really closely at her foaming mouth, you can actually see the drool dropping out of it as she runs at you with her shield up. Because she's just, I'm going to grab you. Okay, like you can literally just see it as it's the foam just coming out of her mouth as it pours down the side of her lips. Okay, so you need to be very, very careful about the fact that she's going to try to grab you. And she has an impossible to break frontal guard that you are really going to struggle with. Okay, you are really going to struggle with. It's going to be really hard. What you need to do is constantly TP in behind her and try to get an instant CC. Instant CC. Anything like free, well, lightning is your best one. Down F, lightning is your best one. So if she's running at you, she's only frontal guarded, so you TP in behind her, bam, and land the lightning. Okay, it's definitely doable. Understand that when she's standing in block like a virgin, she has frontal guarded super armor because it's super balanced. But really, if they're just standing there, all you really want to do is just pelt them with range, all of the range in the world. Guardian only has one range skill you're worried about, and it's axe throw, and you can avoid that really easily with like any sort of movement skill. You can kite the Guardian forever, and they won't ever be able to get on top of you because they're really slow moving. So you can basically just kite around, try to land some slows, and try to work down the frontal guard. You're going to have to be patient. You're going to have to wait for your opening, but you absolutely can get on top of the Guardian. Guardian's grab requires her to be really, really close to you, and she's a slow moving class, so like, it's definitely doable. And it's not as bad as Mystic is. Wusa, Succession Wusa is really easy. Just TP away from her and just keep pelting her with range. She can't do anything about that. She's going to keep throwing down thunderstorms and you're just going to run the other way. It's like a storm front that never actually connects with its target. It's brutal. You know what I mean? Awakening Wusa is even better for you because you just have better range than she does, and she doesn't, like, she's kind of a mid-range assassin, and you are a mid-range like caster, and you are like a fully ranged caster, and you can just stay away from her and constantly just outmove her and keep killing her. Just watch out for butterfly step and you'll be fine. She does have one range skill where like it can hit you, it can back attack you even though she's in front of you. Like, that skill's kind of annoying, but again, you can just jump around that one pretty easily. Striker is exactly the same as Mystic. I will say he's a little bit slower than Mystic at getting on top of you, mainly because his knuckles are dragging on the ground as he's approaching you, and that slows down his overall move speed. But generally speaking, he's just gonna run at you with impossible tenacity and try to grab you. There is nothing else to it. He's not going to try to use any other CC. He's not going to try to initiate in any other way. He's basically just going to keep running at you and grabbing you. I will say that Striker, a lot like Mystic, is very easily slowed. So what you need to do is you need to drop slows on them, as we discussed in the kit. Lightning, Mana Drain, Blizzard. Like, there's a lot of different slows that you can kind of drop onto them in the kit, and you can use slows in your add-ons and stuff as well to kind of slow down the onslaught of this moron that's running at you with Drool and his knuckles dragging. But like, aside from that, you're just playing avoid the grab bot while you turbo the shit out of him from range. Okay, Tamer, just swap servers. The Tamer is it's a similar play style that I talked to you before. Night Blue Ilya, how you doing? Nighty night. Okay. Yeah, again, you can hear the Striker coming from far away. You can hear the primates rambling up like they're in the monkey cage at the zoo. So like you can actually hear them before they even come onto your screen if you have your sound effects on. Okay? When you hear the monkey sounds, you know that they're coming, so just get ready for that. The Tamer is a slow-moving iframe class, okay? In Awakening, she does have a pull jump, not a dance, a pull jump that allows her to close distances very quickly, but like, you literally can just TP away from it over and over and over again, and the Tamer can't get on top of you, okay? You just keep TPing away and using your movement skills. Tamer doesn't have the range to stop you, and eventually she'll just run out of stamina, and you can pelt her with range, okay? Again, try to slow her down. It's much tougher, though, because she's got a lot of iframes. Get on top of me. We're literally talking about a Tamer right now. Dracona, please put the gun down. Officer, that guy right there, that's your guy. Okay, so Valkyrie is very similar to Guardian. She's gonna just try to grab you, but the biggest problem with Valkyrie is that she's got Hostiludium. We talked about this before. She's literally just gonna come from off screen and absolutely turbo you, okay? It's like this little drill animation, and she uses it and she goes a really long way. So the best thing I can tell you to do is when you see the Hostiludium coming at you, just TP this way. Just TP toward them. If she's running this way at you, okay, with Hostiludium, which is a really fast gap closer, just TP towards it. Just go that way. Because they can't turn the Hostiludium. They're fucked. They're just like, no! And they just go by you. Okay? And then you just turbo them with range because they don't have the movement capability to get on top of you. Awakening Witch can't really do that as effectively because they can just get right back on top of you if you TP away and you don't have another TP to work with. But like, you can try to stay at range versus a Valkyrie and pelt them and again try to slow them, but like, they have a really strong block, so like, you need to be really patient in this matchup and just wait for your opening. Constantly try to TP behind her and put back attack damage on her. You're probably not going to be able to land a CC unless you see her come out of block. You can land a quick lightning, whether it's Sharp Light or Celestial Spear or whatever it is that they're coming out of block with to try to CC you with. You can basically land a quick lightning or land a quick freeze on them and try to combo them down very quickly through that. But you have to be really patient in this matchup, just like you have to be with the Guardian. Does Ignore Katie float resist help with down air smash landing? I don't believe that it does. No, down and air smashes are different, are differently coded. They have a 20% chance typically of hitting, except on some skills they have a more % chance for some reason, but they've been changing that over time. But they definitely function differently than normal CCs because they can go beyond the CC counter. Kunoichi, this is actually a tougher matchup than it is in Awakening. In Awakening, you can just let them get on top of you and you can just turbo them. In Succession, you basically just want to kite away and just hurl ranged pressure at them until they get CC'd. Because Kunoichi and Ninja are very unprotected and have to basically gap close very quickly, and they don't have a lot of lingering frontal guards and stuff that they can use. Range pressure is extremely effective at killing these classes. And because you're really slippery, they're really not able to ever get on top of you unless you allow them to. Like, you don't have to fight these two classes if you don't want to. You can just keep TPing away, keep using Earthquake Evade, keep using Earth's Response, keep using Magical Evasion, and there's not really very much they can do about that. And you're constantly hitting Fireball, Fireball Explosion, Lightning, Blizzard, like Meteor. Like, you're just berating them with range, and they're relatively squishy. So, like, yeah, they have evasion, but, like, you can basically, like, two-shot them if you have enough accuracy. So... and they're probably going to make a mistake because they're really high APM classes. So are you, though. If they get on top of you, though, you're probably dead. Do not let them get on top of you. Air smash is 100% if they're floated. Yeah, okay, but down smash isn't. Okay, so Succ. Succ is very similar to the Awakening Witch's Tamer. And Awakening Witch's Succ. You can just stay away from this Succ. Just don't let her get on top of you. And if she is on top of you, just linger some super armors. And TP away. She can't ever catch you. It's the most boring matchup ever. She cannot ever catch you. You just keep TPing away from her and just keep throwing range damage at her. If she tries to use Dream of Doom, you kill her. If she tries to get near you, you just TP away and keep throwing range at her. And she's basically going to play the stamina game, and you're just going to play ring around the rosy. It's not a super fun matchup for either class. If you let her get on top of you, you're probably going to die. Ranger's kind of a tougher matchup for you. Unless you're, well, if it's a Succ Ranger, it can be reasonable. If you have Bolide, okay, Succ Ranger does not have as much range as you do. Okay, so you can stand further away and then they just can't hit you. Okay, so like there's that. 1, 2, most of Succession Ranger's kit is unprotected from range, and so you can just pelt them with lightning, freeze, fireball explosion, meteor. Like, you can just absolutely turbo them, and they just simply cannot stay protected through all of those skills, and it's just a lot of burst damage for them to deal with. So you can basically just kill them from range because they're really squishy. Awakening Ranger, though, is definitely a little bit different. She's going to want to try to get on top of you, and you just TP away like it's a Succ. She doesn't have the movement capability to actually get on top of you regularly. If she does, you're probably dead. You see, this is a recurring theme here. Do not let people get on top of you. Okay? You are a bottom, but you have to play but you have to play like a total prude, okay? No one gets to have sex with you, okay? It's non-consensual. You stay away from them. Okay, if the Awakening Ranger tries to get near you, you TP away and you just absolutely turbo them from range. You can put a lot of pressure on an Awakening Ranger from range as a Succession caster. They just can't get anywhere near you. Yeah, Succ Ranger super loses that matchup, but it's not unplayable. Yeah, I mean, like, it basically plays out like I just explained. Lan, you're probably dead. You can't actually kite a Lan. If you try to TP away, she just flies after you. If you TP again, she again continues flying. She can CC you from the air, which is really brutal, and she trades with you way better. It's very difficult to kill her unless you just two-shot her out of the sky. Is fine. If you have a shitload of damage and you can just two-skill her, that's amazing. If not, I find swapping servers to be extremely effective. Succession Berserker is actually really easy as long as you avoid the grab. Succession Berserker has to run after you, and you have all the slows in the world. Hit him with slows and just keep running away. Keep hitting him with slows, run away. Hit him with slows, run away. He's just going to keep running after you, and you can just keep pelting him. He doesn't have the range to keep up with you, nor does he have the movement capabilities to try to keep up with you either. He's going to try to run you down. He's going to try to grab you, but you can constantly just keep kiting him around and keep trying to get behind him, because Succession Berserker definitely has like half, like little less, like 30 or 40% of those skills are frontal guarded. So like if you TP behind him, you can catch him with a lightning, right? If you TP behind him, you can catch him with a freeze. It's definitely possible. And then like he's always going to have to stand still. Once you poke him down, he's going to have to stand still to get his regen going, and that's when you can really just hammer him with slows and just absolutely turbo him, and then his regen really isn't worth a whole lot in that case. Archer's a much tougher matchup for you. You can't get on top of him. He can't get on top of you, but it doesn't matter because he has more range than you. So you probably lose to an Archer almost every time because he can one skill you, and you don't have a frontal guard. Okay. He can just kite away with infinite range, and he has more range than you do and more damage than you do from range, and you just can't get on top of him, man. You just can't get on top of him, and you don't have the frontal guards to be able to withstand his damage, and he just kills you it's really tough. I will say you basically just have to TP on top of him and just turbo out damage as quickly as you can. He doesn't have a grab, and he's just going to try to kite away from you. When he's kiting away from you, he can't really do very much damage to you. Okay, so if he's constantly kiting back and you don't give him time, then you can actually put a fair amount of pressure on him, and you could potentially kill him. Because a lot of his movement skills you can catch him with super armor stuff and slow him down. But like if you give him any time to fire from range, it's going to kill you. Warrior is exactly the same as Guardian, which is exactly the same as Valkyrie, except he's much faster moving. He's gonna run at you and it's gonna grab you. Okay, he's just gonna try to grab you. There's no other thing that he's gonna try to do. He might slam the ground a couple times. No one gives a shit. All warriors really know how to do is grab people, and then they think they're God's gift to the fucking universe, even though they're total losers. So like just try to avoid the grab to the best of your ability, and if you get behind him, you can hit him with a lightning or a freeze or something. But like they actually think that they're the best players ever, and they just grab everything. It's actual losers. Except for Goldstein. We love Goldstein. Also Hans, he's great too. Also losers. Yeah. They do the same thing to me, bro. I'm just gonna walk at him and I'm gonna grab him. Fuck me, dude. Yeah. Every warrior ever. There's no other plan. It's just I'm gonna solar flare and then I'm gonna grab him. That's it. Okay. They should give Witch a grab? No. Not a good idea. But both specs of warrior are the same. They're really fast moving. They're gonna try to grab you. Avoid the grab, win game. Okay. Just keep TPing. As with every block class, just keep TPing behind them and just hurl damage into their back as quickly as you can. If you can do a bunch of back attack damage to them, you don't even have to CC them to kill them. Okay? Then they're stuck just standing in their block trying to regen their HP, and you just kill them from range. Okay. Corsair we went over. Ninja we went over. Again, you have to watch out for the ninja's malice. You really do have to watch that. And then just kite away from him, and you should be fine. He can't really put pressure on you. Succ Nova is basically an unkillable monster. She's gonna turbo you. She basically hard counters you in every way. She can stand in block and go get a cup of coffee and literally kill you away from the keyboard, because her pet can CC you from really far away. So if you're standing over here and that's the Succ Nova way over there, and keep in mind most of your range is pretty unprotected or frontal guarded. Okay, if that's the Succ Nova over there, you can absolutely be CC'd because the pet can come from behind you and just knock you over and kill you. It also has a grab and an unkillable block. The Succ Nova's block is basically unkillable in a 1v1 situation. So best to just swap servers. Awakening Nova is very similar. She's just going to stay on top of you. If she gets the vacuum on you, you're probably just dead because she can just hold you in place and kill you. Succ Nova has a pet. It absolutely has multiple pets. It's got pawns. It's got a gargoyle. It's got all kinds of stuff. And they all CC. They're all crazy good. It's got a grab, an unkillable block. Again, you play it very patiently. You try to get in. You have to TP behind the Nova and keep doing back attack damage. The problem is the pet is eventually inevitably going to CC you, and that shit sucks. Okay. Okay, Awakening Nova, like I said, you have to watch out for the vacuum, because if you get caught in the vacuum, she's just going to drop all of her damage and you're going to die. She has really fast gap closing potential, and it's very difficult to slow her with any sort of... Like, she's moving so fast, it is so hard to actually get a slowdown on her. She's probably just going to run you over. She's just too quick. She's just way too quick, and you don't really have many tools to stop the incoming damage or to stay away from her. But you can do your best to slow her and pelt her from range while you constantly TP away. It's possible to kill her, but it's a very difficult matchup. Okay. Also has S-class torpedoes. True. Sage. Succession Sage is really easy matchup for you. Kite away and slow him. Every other dash that he does is basically super armored, so you can just slow the shit out of him no matter what. Like, you just constantly slow him and kite away, and he can never catch up to you. He's always just like... trying to catch up to you. He needs an inhaler, man. The dude actually needs an inhaler, so you don't really have to worry about it. Just kite away from him. He doesn't have any range pressure for you to really worry about, and he doesn't have a grab either, so you just kite away from him and just hurl damage at him until he dies. And Norelio just dies of maulding, so it's not the end of the world. Awakening Sage is definitely a lot tougher, but again, his grab is actually kind of difficult to land because the spacing has to be perfect in order for the grab to go off. It is a ranged grab, but it is difficult to land. So like, and because you have so much movement skills, if you're constantly repositioning around him, he's not going to be able to grab you. If you're constantly using these short range repositions like earthquake evade, earth response, magical evasion, there's the split TP, right? You do this. Oh, he's back over here. Earth response again. There's magical evasion, TP again, right? Like he just can't pin you down. It's very difficult for him to get a grab on you. Possible, but very difficult. Okay, you can just abuse the fact that spacing is a thing. Definitely a tougher matchup though. Awakening moves a little bit faster than Succession does for sure, and has bigger AoEs to have to worry about, like Lightning Prism. But like, yeah, really you can just kite away and try to slow him, and it's not going to be a fun matchup for either of you. Okay, so for Dracania, Awakening Dracania, you're just trying to avoid the grab. All she really has to close the distance on you is Dragon's Flight, which is that really cool Dragonfly mechanic that you see her use all the time. So you can just TP, like, okay, so again, it's very similar to the Valkyrie Hastaludium. They're going to be coming at you from this way, and again, you just want to TP toward them. Here comes the Dragonflight. I'm just going to TP this way. They can't turn the Dragonflight around that quickly, and then you effectively create a tremendous amount of space between you and the Dracania in front of you, okay? And then, like, you can constantly just keep kiting back, because once Dragon's Flight is down, they don't have really big gap closers to really worry about that you can't just kite away from. So again, you just kite the Awakening Dracania until they have no more movement skills, and then you kill her. If she gets on top of you, she's going to grab you, and she's going to kill you, so just bear that in mind. Just need to see them coming from a mile away. Well, yeah, that's the tough part, right? That's the tough part. But that's the proper response to when someone is gap closing on you from really off screen like that. I spent an hour on Succ Nova before unlocking Woke and never looked back. Yeah, that's... If I played Nova, I'd probably play Awakening because it looks really cool. I don't know. I like Succession Nova, to be honest with you. It's just too slow. Like, I don't know. It's just too slow, and it's not very good in PvE. I don't know. Succession Dracania is just like every other block class in the game. Just land a bunch of slows on her. She relies on super armors. Just keep slowing her and kiting away. She does not have a grab, and she's really slow moving, a lot like Guardian, but she just doesn't... She doesn't have all the tools that Guardian has. This, you're probably never going to kill a Succession Drac. You can't slow a Succ Drac. Yeah, you can. She can just cleanse the slows. But, like, she has to stop in order to cleanse the slows. But, like, again, once she stops, you just put more slows on her. Succ Drac removes slows. Again, okay, so for, like, the third time. She can remove the slows, yes, but she has to stop in order to do that, and you just put another slow right back on her again. It's really not that hard. She moves really, really slowly. She moves really, really slowly, so you don't really have to worry about it. You can just keep slowing her. She's gonna try to strip the slows from her body, but you just put another slow on her and keep rolling through her. She doesn't have a grab to lock you down, so you just kite away from her over and over again. This is another one. Any block class is gonna have to be a patient matchup. It's gonna take you a really long time to kill them, okay? But you can kill them. I will say that for Succession Dracania, she has a PA skill that's up every 30 seconds, so if you don't kill her in that 30-second window, she's going to get all of her health back with the PA skill, and there's nothing you can do about that. So just bear that in mind. It's kind of tough. It's kind of tough. Awakening Dracania also has that skill, but there's gaps between where she has to use it. So, like, it's tougher for her to get the skill off because she has to move to pre-awakening, which she doesn't want to do. Just grab. Yeah, no, there is no grab. No, she doesn't remove slows. Don't be ridiculous. No. One of her skills legitimately removes slows from her, but like you just put another slow back on her again, and you just keep turboing her. Megu's kind of a tougher matchup for you. Awakening Megu can get on top of you and blink behind you really quickly from relatively far away. To be honest with you, it's really scary. She does not have a grab, but she actually can just turbo you. Most of your range is unprotected or frontal guarded, and so the fact that she can blink behind you from a far distance is very scary to you. A lot like a Dark Knight. Dark Knights can also blink behind you with Nocturne. Ninjas and Kunos can blink behind you with Block Jump, but it takes them a little longer. They have to be a little bit closer. Awakening Megu is definitely a little bit of a scary matchup for you if they're actually good at the game. Succession Megu is definitely a lot less threatening. They definitely have range, and they have range CC, which you have to worry about, but you have better range, and you have better kite potential, so you just abuse the fact that your range is better and just keep kiting away from her. If she gets on top of you, honestly, you can trade really well with Blizzard. She's going to try to use Fox Flare when she's on top of you. You can trade with Blizzard. Blizzard is a frontal guard. Fox Flare is a super armor, and you just turbo the shit out of her health bar. So like Succ Megu is actually a relatively simple matchup overall, assuming you're not outgeared as fuck. I will say that you can take a lot of damage if she pokes you down with pedal, the pedal skills. Yeah, you could definitely die. But like if you're a good Succ Witch, you can handle it. And then Moose is the last one that we didn't go over. A lot like Mewa, you're really concerned about the stub arrow in Succession, because the stub arrow is really effective against you because you don't have an S block and you don't have a Q block. So you really need to make sure that you're frontal guarding basically all the time when you're at range if you see him dashing backwards, okay? There's definitely ways to make sure that you're frontal guarding, right? Like, but like you got to be careful about that stub arrow. And when he TP's near you, you just TP away and then pound him. And then take him to Pound Town. Okay? And then take him to Pound Town. Assassin is really simple. Okay? It's just like Awakening Megu. Okay? It's always going to try to blink behind you. It's just like Succ Ninja. It's just like Kuno. They're just going to try to jump behind you and get a clean CC on you. So just make sure you know the distance with which he can do his arid assaults. I think that's the skill that like jumps behind you and CCs you. You just need to make sure that when he goes to do that, that you're in a full super armor. And if you do that, you're probably going to be just fine. Awakening Hash can grab you. You're probably just dead. Succession Hash is doable as long as you avoid the arid assault. All right, so I think I went through all of the matchups in the game. Does anybody have any questions? Maybe things that I didn't cover for Succession Witch at the very end here. I know I went through all of it kind of quickly, but it was a very comprehensive guide, and I kind of covered underwear. I don't know what I expected.